Yeah, and I'll leave this open for a bit. Okay. Are you dealing with any injuries or anything that I should know about, or?
Anything that's going to engage my adductor on the right side, I'm going to go half at least. Got that.
Okay. Yeah, we were gonna do some hip opening. Did you have like a groin strain? Was it a groin injury?
I was playing soccer in the cold and took
Okay.
a big swing of the ball and lost all my power.
Oh shoot.
So
How long ago was that?
about 4 weeks. Been rehabbing for the past
Okay.
4 weeks. About 60-70%
Okay.
back, but it's still the brain's still protecting it and things
Yep.
like that. So if anything hip opening, I'm just gonna go half.
Yeah. Just go kind of to a soft edge where you feel like a good stretch, but we'll prop because the first part of it will be some hip openers, very inner thigh focused. So you just and you can have some extra bolsters too if you need it for your hips too, since we have them. Huh?
I'll just take it easy.
Okay. But yeah, so a little bit about myself. I'm Emily Warren, and I own my own practice called Emily Warren Physical Therapy. Pretty straightforward, and I'm primarily specialized in the spine, but that includes the hips, everything, really the pelvis. And so I like to use Yin Yoga as a tool the in my tool belt. And before that, well, I started out in neuro before I started my own practice, so I really had an appreciation through working with people with spinal cord injury and brain injury, just an appreciation for the brain and the nervous system, and because it's a powerhouse of movement. And then also, it's also the wheelhouse of pain for pain, and so I feel like it's helped me in my practice just be a bit more well-rounded in orthopedics, seeing people as a whole person and trying to figure out what's contributing to their pain, if it's nervous system related, if it's a tissue issue primarily, or a combination. So that's been good, and I've had plenty of injuries myself going through postpartum and as a runner, and navigating aging and still training. So it's been, I know I'm still young, but for approaching 40, I mean, your body changes. So having to deal with that. And so learning how we have to adjust our training and also supplement it with like yin type stuff to help our running. And so I use it as a tool primarily in my practice. It's a part of the framework I use for every patient, usually in stage 2. And so I like yin because it focuses on decreasing tension in connective tissue more so than the muscular effort of other types of yoga, like vinyasa flows. Any other type of yoga is a lot of the muscle side of things, the power, the energy. And then the yin part is very much a letting go. So trying to decrease tension through your breath and through staying in it. So if you are dealing with injury, just back off to where it feels like a good stretch. And if you want to come out of it and move a bit, you can do that. I usually hold postures for anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes to get down to the connective tissue issue. And a lot of groin, hello, come on in. A lot of groin and adductor issues. I found that if you do add some longer stretches that are on that soft edge, it can really help with your rehab. So some of these will be ideas that you could implement. Come on in, you guys. If you'd like to, you can grab a bolster too and some blocks. That would help just support you during the practice. And we'll get going pretty soon. And then at the end of class, I will ask you guys just to sign in. You don't have to worry about it right now, but. Yeah, glad you're here. Traffic right now is nuts.
Yes.
It took me a long time to get here. So, just Sugar House, but everyone coming south. Yep, totally. But anyway, glad you guys are here. I'm not going to give you the whole spiel that I was just saying, but my name's Emily Warren, and I'm a physical therapist and a yoga therapist. So I use it in my practice, helping people with back, hip, pelvic pain. And so I like it to use it as a supplement for helping people get back to the gym and on the trails. So I'll give you a couple blocks too. Do you have some blocks?
No.
Okay, I'll grab a couple. And these are small, so I want a few extra. And I was just saying that just find your soft edge in the posture in Yin Yoga. Have you guys done Yin before? Okay. It's longer holds. Oh, good. Good. This will be slow, and we'll do one posture at a time. It's not like a flow with a lot of movement. It is a settling into a posture, finding your breath, and you go to your soft edge where it's like, I usually say find some discomfort, but it's not pain. You know, like just in a stretch, and we stay there for anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes. So it's really good for helping people who just are tight, tense, and just using your breath to kind of release the layers of the onion of tension. And I use it as a tool in my practice for people with chronic back, hip, pelvic pain stuff. So, and we'll use props just to help support you. All right, let's go ahead and get started. We'll start laying down, knees bent, feet on the floor. Okay, so really just connecting with our breath. If you guys at any point want to wave me down and need a little bit of guidance, I'm happy to do that. You can start in sitting if you'd like to, but I usually like to start in lying down just to connect with our breath. Yeah, so just notice where you're at today, starting your practice. Where do you notice any tension in your body? You don't have to change anything. I'm just asking you to notice first. Any areas that need a little extra love in our practice today? Just noticing what's going on in your body, and then also maybe noticing what's going on in your head. It's hard to slow down, and this is going to be a slow practice where it forces us to slow down. So I encourage all of us just to be here in the moment for the next 45 minutes. Noticing what's going on in your head, and then also breath. So bringing attention to your breath. Sometimes I like to place one hand on my belly, my lower belly, and then one hand on my chest. You don't have to change your breathing. Just notice where the movement's happening. Is it happening more at the chest? Is it happening more in the belly? And just invite the breath in through the nose, and then maybe a little bit deeper, like lower belly. It's fine that your chest rises, that's natural. We want it to, but we also want that belly to rise, which can help decrease tension in the pelvis, in the back. Nice. And I also like to visualize like an ocean swell. So as you breathe in, maybe visualize the tide of an ocean, of the water coming in, and then the tide rolling back out. It's nice and easy. Feel free to move your hands if you'd like to back down to the mat, or you can keep them on your belly and chest. Just kind of settling into becoming more and more aware of the breath. Now with every exhale, just in the next minute or so, I want you to think about releasing tension with every exhale. So if you want to lay your legs flat, you can, but they can be bent as well. But let the exhale invite you to release and let go of something. So let's maybe start with like the space between your eyebrows. Can you let go there in the space between your eyebrows? The space between or around your jaw. How are you holding your jaw right now? Is there a lot of clenching? Clenching of the jaw can also create more pelvic floor tension. What happens at the jaw happens at the pelvic floor. Release, let go of the jaw. Relax the tongue. And also with your neck, your shoulders, the traps, where we hold a lot of tension. What can you do there with your breath? Inhale, exhale, get heavier. Okay? Same with your back, the low back, hips, legs. Legs are heavy too. So as we move through our yin practice, this is what we're going to do. We're going to get into a posture and then focus on our breath and let the breath help us into more of a release with each posture. So you can go ahead and bend your knees, plant your feet on the mat, and we'll just start with some gentle movements first as a warm-up, and then we'll settle in, okay? So you can separate your feet a little bit wider to where they're closer to the edge of the mat, and then just let your knees rock side to side. So they're going in the same direction, and then opposite side. Yep, so kind of like windshield wipers. If you'd like to, you can stretch your arms up overhead and give them a clasp. If the bolster's not in the way, I can move it for you. Yeah, so you can clasp your hands if you just want to really stretch out as you rock your hands or legs side to side. Nice. Just letting the movement of your legs invite your pelvis to kind of rotate, releasing the low back. Beautiful. Okay. And then you're going to do one more roll towards your right side. Roll over onto your right side, come up onto hands and knees, and your head can be facing me. That way you can see. It's nice and easy. And then we'll start with just a little bit of a warm-up here with cat-cow. So in cat-cow, we plant hands under the shoulders, knees under hips. And then with our exhale, we round the low back, pushing into the earth, rounding from the pelvis all the way up to your neck. And then inhale, we arch the other way. Like you dump your belly forward if that feels okay for you. And then round on the exhale again. This is the cat. And then the cow is belly towards the earth. Inhale. You keep going with this. Just moving your back, inviting the breath in as you move. And the pelvic floor here with our breath is also lengthening whenever we do the cow. We lengthen the pelvic floor. Exhale, we round, and it shortens. And it's really healthy to have a pelvic floor that's dynamic, and it stretches, and it comes back, and it stretches, and it comes back. If it's always rigid and tight, we can leak, we can have pelvic pain. So this is really good just to connect with your pelvic floor. All right, a couple more here. And then we can move in like circles. So you can do a couple little circles with your trunk. You can kind of feel different each direction. Do a few circles, okay? And then we'll move into downward facing dog just to kind of get a stretch in the back body. And for usually I go into a plank, so nice and strong. And then I tilt my hips up towards the ceiling. And your heels do not need to touch down. It's fine. I usually think long from my fingertips to my pelvis, sit bones in your perfect. You can also move it out, so you can bend one knee at a time if you'd like to, kind of make it more dynamic for a stretch. So alternating each foot if you like. Good. Find your breath. Always breathe. If you're holding your breath, you can back off. Good. And then we're going to set the knees back down onto the mat. You can come into a child's pose if that's available for you. And that's sitting your hips back over your feet. Arms go in front of you. And you can go knees wide or narrow, whichever feels okay. Find your breath here. What do you notice with your rib cage? Can you breathe into the back body? A lot of times for child's pose, this is a modification you can do. You can also lie over, like, and go knees wider. Yeah. So a few more breaths here. Just feel it out, and then we'll move. And you could go cheek down. No, you can go here. This is just a little bit more supportive for you. Okay. 2 more rounds of breath. Inhale, big. Good. Exhale, release. 1 more breath in. And release. Okay, so slowly come on up. We're going to start our practice today in sitting. Okay, so yep. And where I would like to start is half butterfly. So you're going to find your edge here. Have some props nearby if you have hamstring issues or hip issues. So half butterfly, you bring 1 foot in towards your pelvis and then sit tall from there. So I like to pick myself up, set my hips back down, just so I'm kind of even. Yeah. And then with this leg, you take it as far out to the side as available, but 4 out of 10. We don't want 10 out of 10 discomfort. And then if your hammies are very tight, you can always prop. Okay. So first off, we start here with our breath up nice and tall. And I usually like to take my hands behind me just to prop up. And again, we're finding our edge. That's all we're doing. And then you can slowly come into it with your breath. Slow, slow, slow. Finding our breath. So we will stay here for about 3-ish minutes. So again, that practice we did at the beginning where we inhale, exhale, release with the breath. That's what we do here. Inhale, exhale. Another option, when you get to a point where you're like, okay, this is my place, I'm not going any further, you can prop the bolster up in front of you, lean your head into it, and stay there just to support your neck. And it's really nice and relaxing just to have a little extra support and really let the tension go in the pelvis. I'll just put it near you just in case you want to use it. Finding your breath. No breath holding. Good. Inhale. Fill the lungs. Exhale. Release. Inhale. Exhale. In. Out. Keep your breath going. And as you stay at your edge, you might notice with your breath over time, you can go a little bit farther into it if it feels safe for you. Relax your foot. See if you can relax your foot. Breath. Breathe in the nose, out the mouth, fill up the belly. Ribs rise on the inhale, and they come back on the exhale. Ribs expand on the inhale and contract on the exhale. 30 more seconds here. If you'd like to invite yourself deeper into it, you can, or stay where you are. Finding breath. Good. And you can slowly, on your last breath there, you can use your hands to help support you up into sitting. Okay. And then when you come out of yin postures, I like to use my upper body. Use your hands to kind of support you up and out. So no muscular real effort of your legs, just so you don't unwind things. And then we just kind of easy, nice, a few rocks here as you move in a different direction. Okay, good. And then we're going to switch sides. So remember, bring one foot in, pretty close to your pubic bone here, and then leg goes out. And whenever we're doing this one, instead of turning towards one leg or the other, we are thinking we're going for it in the middle, okay? And this will stretch the hips, stretch the hammies, come to that soft edge. And you can grab your prop if you want to, but first you sit tall. Yep, so sit tall, even on the pelvis there. Good. Which that in and of itself is hard. If you notice that when you come into it, you're starting to round from the get-go, then I would say just stay here, or even sit on top of like a block or a bolster. Finding your breath, and then walking your hands forward as it feels comfortable for you to do so. And then once you find that space where you're like, I'm going to stay here and settle in for a bit, that's when you can use your props to help support you, wherever that is. Options to have it at your head, have it underneath your arms, like a forearm prop, or just to stay tall. And we settle in with our breath. Find your breath, keep breathing. With every exhale, let something go. Good. Stay here for about 45 more seconds to a minute. Finding your breath. And as your edge changes and dissipates, you can come further into it if it's available for you and it feels good. Good. Breathe in the nose. Exhale, release. 2 more breaths here in this posture. Inhale. Exhale. In and out. Good. And then again with your arms, we're walking your arms back. Okay, so walk the arms back up tall. And then use the hands to support your leg out of the posture. And we'll do a little bit of knee rocking first. Or any movement really that sounds and feels good for you after that. Good. And then we're going to come into a butterfly posture, but it's a little different. We're not going to bring our feet really far in. You're actually decently far out. The yin posture of this is farther out, and then we prop here again and just lean forward a bit. So this is like a double, kind of a half butterfly, a little bit different. 2 half butterflies. That's why it's called butterfly. And so first start evenly on the pelvis. You lift up and ground. And then with your breath, you find your edge, right? We start by leaning forward. And think back is relatively flat here. We're not starting to round at the low back yet. Once you round, you found your space. And then here, wherever you are, you can prop with hands forward. One I like is to put the bolster again. I'm a big bolster person. At the feet, like I put it on top of my feet, and then I rest my head and then lean into it. Really bendy people can just bend forward or prop their head on a block. But taking some time here to ease into it first. As your edge changes, your prop can change too. Finding your breath again. So we'll just stay here for about a minute. Finding your breath. Can you let go? If it feels safe to let go. Good. About half a minute more. Letting it stretch the low back, the hips. Okay. And then with your hands, you can remove your prop and slowly come out of this one. And then we use our hands, support your legs out. And then usually I just like to straighten them out and kind of pull back and contract my legs. Yep. You can even do a back bend. Okay. All right. So the next one, what we'll do, we'll take a break from the inner thighs for a moment, and we're going to do like outer thighs and back. So this one is a little more challenging, but you're going to bend your knee if this is comfortable and available for you. I'll show you an alternative if this is too much. And then you stack. So I'm thinking my knees are generally in the same area, and it might look like a little higher. That's fine. You can put a block or something to just kind of take the edge off. Now, if this is just too much, you can do tailor sit, which it doesn't look like much, but as you bend forward, it is effective here too. So you just sit with both legs just kind of parallel. So that's an option as well. Yep. Or you can try the shoelace. It's like, and so here we sit tall, and that might be enough just with the back straight. Or if you can walk your hands forward nice and slow, and you'll primarily feel it most likely in the leg that's on the top. Okay, so then we just ease forward over our legs, and then you find that that 4 out of 10. Find your breath, settling in at that 4 out of 10 space. Inhale, we feel the lungs. Exhale, let it go. Inhale, exhale, release. Always staying in a space that feels safe for you, like you're not doing too much, but also a bit of a discomfort is okay. As long as it's not internal knee pain, I'm okay with just some discomfort. We don't want knee pain in these postures. Back to your breath. Good. 30 more seconds. If your edge changes, you can move your props. Nice. Okay. And then slowly with your hands, come out of this one. Okay. Nice. That one can be intense. So we move our legs out. And again, I like to just straighten or rock. So I'm kind of feeling the back bend today where you pull back, look up. Good. And then come out of that. And then we'll also do the other side, of course. So bending the knee as able and then stacking. So again, Taylor sit is legs parallel and then we lean forward, which you'll definitely find that as you keep your back straight and then you lean forward over your hips. So that's just as effective. It's just another way. Or you can do shoelace. And then each hip can be a little different. One might have more mobility than the other. That's fine. Then we settle in, we find our breath. And you can move your hands when you're ready, easing into it. This side is a lot tighter, so I'm like, feel stuck. And we breathe. Letting the exhale be a reminder to let something go. Peeling back the layers of the onion of tension. Really fill up the lungs with the inhale, breathing in the nose, out the nose or the mouth. We'll stay here for one more minute, settling in. Good. Maybe like 4 more cycles of breath. Letting it go on the exhale. Good. And then with your hands, you support yourself as you come out of this posture using your arms and your legs. Good. And then I like to do sometimes like a little cat-cow where I just kind of bring my belly forward, chest forward, open up, and then round. Okay. All right, we'll do one more in sitting and then we're gonna move on our bellies. So this one, again, go to your soft edge on this one too. This is dragonfly. So a good option for people who are very tight, you can always go on your back and do these on the wall with your legs up the wall. Just a fun tip for you. So this one is like a dragonfly, right? The wings are out and then their bodies are like in the center. I cannot go flat. I will not be going flat. But you find the soft edge with your legs, bringing them out as wide as you can. Yep. If it feels good for you. And if you want to, prop with those blocks because the blocks help support, take away some of the muscular tension. And then you can really get into the pelvis area. So just play with it. Sometimes I like to start with the blocks and just see the difference if my hamstrings are just blocking me from coming forward, which is very common for me. Yep, so just propping with the blocks. And then as you want to, you can bring your trunk forward, think relatively straight back. And then when you find your edge, you stay there. Yeah, you could also sit on a bolster if you need your hips up. A lot of yin is a lot of postures, or sorry, bolsters and props to help make it comfortable and adjust to different bodies. Find your breath. We won't stay here for too long. We'll stay here for maybe a minute here. And really let your chest fall forward towards the earth if it's available for you. Yep. Inhale, fill the lungs. Exhale, release. Good. We'll go another half a minute. Breath. Where's your breath? Good. Maybe 3 more rounds of breath and then we can walk out of this one. Okay, and on your third breath, that's when you can remove your props. Nice and easy. And then walking your hands back to support you. And remove your props as you're ready. And then I like to support with my hands. Nice and easy. Sometimes it's hard to do a long hold and then actively contract the muscles after. So that's why we like to support with our hands. Okay, let's adjust to on our bellies. So head down this way so you can see me when we do it, but we'll go onto our bellies on the mat. I might just move my microphone so I'm not squishing this. Okay, so just settle in on your belly for a moment. You can just lay flat, finding your breath, your hand or your cheek to your hand, okay? And then with your legs, I want you to think about lift one leg and then push it behind you, like someone's pulling your leg toward the wall behind you. Okay, like pushing it away and then let it back down. And then do that again on the other side, lift up and then push it away, like someone's pulling your leg, just kind of creating some more space in the spine there. And then with your arms, what you're going to do is come up into Sphinx posture, which is on your forearms. So pretty simple here. And first, I invite you just to let the effects of gravity open and like almost like it's taking your heart towards the earth, but you're staying upright. Letting your spine extend, which feels nice and yummy after doing a lot of folding forward. And the legs are relaxed here, trying not to contract the legs. And then if you'd like a more of a challenge here, couple options. You could prop up on a block with your forearms on a block, or you can go into seal. Seal is this posture, and I wouldn't do this if you had like a fracture. Obviously, you wouldn't be here if you did that, or osteoporosis. But you're going to take your hands a little wider, and then you're going to prop up. So my elbows extend, and I'm going to stay here. So in some spinal extension, which is really healthy for the spine. And let the glutes relax. Your butt's not protecting you here. Let the chest fall forward towards the earth, and you just look forward. We're going to stay here for like 4 rounds of breath and then come down and then maybe do another one because this is challenging to stay up. There shouldn't be pain. There might be stiffness, but if you feel like uncomfortable pain in your spine, you can back off. Good. Come down after the 4th breath, and then we'll just come up maybe one more time after that. If you want to come all the way flat on your mat, you can, or just prop up into Sphinx like we were. Good. And then let's do it one more time, maybe 4 or 5 rounds of breath here. So your hands can go wider on your mat. Extend your elbows like you're propping up like a seal. Let the heart fall towards the earth, especially the upper back, letting it extend. A lot of work on the arms. In your breath. One more breath in and release back down. And then we're going to come into a child's pose after that one as a counter stretch. So you can rock back onto the heels nice and slow, and then bring knees wide or narrow, and then you come into child's pose. Finding your breath for 2 more rounds of breath there, not too long. And then we'll come back onto hands and knees when you're ready. So for this next one, it's swan or sleeping swan. So you have an option to go on your back if you'd prefer. So option number 1, if you're really tight in like the outside of your hips, is to go onto your back. You can prop with like a bolster to get a little more of a stretch, and then do it like a figure 4, okay? Or if you'd like to try swan, swan is where we take our knee up, say, let's try taking our right knee up towards our right hand. And then your foot or heel goes towards your pubic bone. So it stays pretty midline. We're not bringing our foot out and perpendicular to the mat. And then you settle in. You take your left leg, you let it go back behind you. Yeah, lengthen it out. And then here, with our hands as our prop, we settle into stretching this hip here, okay? You can also prop with a block if you want some extra support on your hip here, okay? Or as you get comfortable here, you can also use your good old props. So you can come onto your blocks first if you'd like to, settling more and more into being forward on that hip. There you go. This is can feel intense. We'll stay here for about 1.5 minutes. Feel free at any point to come out of it if it's too much. But again, 4 out of 10. Breathe. Finding your breath. No knee pain, no deep knee pain. And notice if you can relax your face here. Can you relax your jaw? Can you relax the space between your eyebrows? Try not to guard too much, which is hard in this one. About half a minute more. With every exhale, let something go. Finding a new edge if it's available for you. Breathe in the nose and out. Okay. And then we're going to slowly come out of this one. Okay. Hands supportive. I usually like to kick back into downward facing dog nice and slow. So coming into a plank, kind of shake it out in the hip, and then coming upside down, taking pelvis up towards the ceiling. You can pedal it out in the calves, if in the knees if you need to. And then coming down onto all fours again, we'll settle into the other side. Okay. So again, this side, we take our left knee goes to left hand. And then again, the heel stays close to the pubic bone in the middle just to protect the knee a bit. Then the right leg extends far behind you, lengthening out, and you find your soft edge wherever you want to start. You find your breath. No internal knee pain. And we'll stay here for a minute and a half. You know the drill by now. Good. Finding your breath, remaining with your breath. What do you notice in this posture? About 20 more seconds. Letting it go. Good. Good, good. Slowly remove your props, and then with your hands, we walk back out of this one. Slowly bringing your leg out, coming into a plank, into downward facing dog if you'd like to, or child's pose if you just want to stick with child's pose. Okay. Finding your breath, and then we come down onto all fours. Nice. Okay. All right, so what we'll try with this one is more of a hip flexor stretch. So front of the hip. It's called dragon. And take your blocks to have them by you to support, because I usually like to start high in this. And if your knees are really sensitive, you might want to roll up your mat just to provide a little extra cush. So how I come into this is usually high lunge. Okay, and then with my big old blocks here, I can lengthen out the back leg a bit. Okay, and then just settling into that, the stretch on the, which side are we on? We're on the left. Setting the knee down. Yeah. So you find your edge where you're like, okay, that's where I need to settle. Or if you want to go lower, you can. So you can always change the face of your block to go lower And then you can start to bring your trunk forward and walk your hands more forward as you feel comfortable with it. Okay, we're not going to stay on this one too long. But here, I'm going to let you try my taller ones. The taller ones are nice too. You might be fine with those. They just feel more steady. You can adjust them too. Yep, you find your breath, and if you're able to, you can bring your forearms down to the mat. There's just a lot of hip mobility, and you can even drop your knee out to the side. So you're getting kind of a double doozy here with the front of the thigh and the back leg and the side of the thigh, or sorry, the side of the hip in the front. We'll just stay here for 30 more seconds. Breathing. Loose jaw, let your jaw go. And breathe. Good. And we'll slowly walk out of this one with our hands. Just to be mindful of time. And then we're going to do a little cat-cow if you'd like to. Move in any way that feels good to you, stretching back into child's pose if you want to before we go to the other side. And so using the blocks for the start of your next one if you want. Walking your other foot forward. We start tall, lengthening out the back knee or the leg just to come into a bit more hip extension. Good. And then you adjust the blocks as you're ready, and your trunk can come more forward like we just did, staying here for about 1.5 minutes. There we go, finding your breath. You might notice one side is a lot more tight than the other. Your normal just needs a little extra love on some side versus the other. Yep, finding that soft edge. Find your breath. Breathe, breathe, breathe. The joints of the body should move in all directions. And we shouldn't really fear any directions, especially with the spine. It's all good. And we should have freedom to move in all directions. And so sometimes we've got to force ourselves to like get a little more extension in our lives, especially if we sit. That's why I like a lot of these kind of postures for our hips and back. 20 more seconds. Find your breath. And if you find that you're getting hot in this posture, it's really common with hip flexor stretches. Build up some heat. Okay. All right, so slowly walk out of this one. Try not to contract your hip flexor. Just use your arms and your other legs to support you, okay? Good. And then let's do a little cat-cow. All right. Finding your breath. Good. Okay, our last posture before Shavasana, and I'll just go a few minutes over if that's okay. If you need to leave, that's fine. We're going to come into a supported bridge. So this one's going to be on your back, and it might be like, oh, yay, we're finally on our backs. So option here, first you just find your breath with your knees bent. And then with a supported bridge, what you do is you're going to use a block in the flattest part, like the lowest level first as you feel it out. Then with the bony sacrum, you're going to put it underneath the boniest part of your pelvis. We are not at the low back. So I'll kind of stand up and show you. I'm right here. I'm not here. So here, just settle in right there with your pelvis on the block. And you want to kind of keep your knees in line with your hips, not splaying out too far. And then just trying to relax your low back, your pelvis over the block. And then if this is fine and simple and you'd like to go higher, you can adjust the face of your block to go higher. So you can elevate, switch it up to where it's taller, and then same spot on your pelvis, and then you just let yourself relax and release over the taller setting. Yeah, there's three faces you can go. Low, medium, high. So just feel it out. We'll stay here and breathe for a minute or two. Just really noticing the tension in the pelvic floor. So like the muscles that help us poop, pee, all of that. Just letting go there and not holding tension there as the support of the block is there underneath your sacrum. Continuing to focus on just breath and letting go in the exhale. We'll stay here about 30 more seconds. Relax your jaw. Breathe into the belly. 2 more rounds of breath. And then on that last one, so what you're going to do is take your block down to the flatter or the lowest setting before you go cold turkey and take it out. So you can adjust the block, feel that out first, and then you can remove the block after that. If you'd like to, you can do a knees to chest, so hug the knees in. And then you just let your legs go. You lie flat on the mat for our final resting pose in Shavasana. So lengthen out with your legs if you'd like to. You can bring your arms overhead just to give it one last stretch there. Or move in any direction that you really want to. And then you can settle in for a couple minutes here. Arms by your side. Just breathing. And so maybe just as you lie here, you can just notice how you feel compared to the beginning of class. What do you notice about the overall tension in your body? We'll just kind of go with that body scan too, just to bring awareness to things. So the space between your eyebrows, you let it go. Your jaws, or your jaw, letting it go. Can you relax the tongue a little bit? And the neck and the traps where we hold a lot of tension, can we let those be heavy on the mat? Just see how heavy you can get on the mat with every exhale. And then the upper back and the lower back, the right and left hip, the right and left thigh, the calves, and the feet. Both upper arms and lower arms, and even the hands. Can you let something go there? appreciating just what's left, which is the rise and fall of your breath. The tide rolling in and the tide rolling out. Good. And if you'd like to, you can just like wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers as we kind of end our Shavasana today. You can roll, when you're ready, you can roll over onto one side and make your way up to sitting, but no rush. Good. Just finding an upright spine. If you'd like to, you can take your arms up overhead. I just like to lengthen out first, growing long. You can even go side to side. Good. And I like to bring my hands down at heart center and rub them for a little heat. And I just like to remind myself with the contact of my hands that yoga is about really just connecting with your body, connecting with your breath, also connecting with each other. So thank you all for coming today. Really appreciate it. Namaste. Yeah. Well, that helps to just let go of tension around the lumbopelvic area, bring your back into some extension, which a lot of us don't spend too much time there. And so you can build up the block height to get a little more extension as you get comfortable with it. And I also like it for just learning where your pelvic floor is with your breath, which a lot of people have pelvic floor tension, especially runners, and they leak and they have pain. Anything with sexual function or pain with pelvic pain. So that's one I like to give patients if they're really having a hard time letting go, because that's also often a chronic problem. So, but I did say at the beginning, this week I'm giving workshop people 10% off if they need a session or a consult. I do free consults. I'm a PT and a physical or yoga therapist, so I work with all types of injuries, and not just injuries, coaching as well. So you can grab a card if you'd like. You have my info, and if you don't mind signing in before you leave, that'd be great. But if you have any questions or thoughts, feel free to chat after I'm here. Thank you guys for coming. How did that feel on the hammy and groin? Okay.
Yeah,
okay. Because all of those at the beginning are like, oh, hello,
yeah.
hammy and adductors.
Yeah, that's where I am.
Yeah.